It is a waste of time hating a mirror or its reflection. Instead of stopping the hand that makes glass with distortions slight enough to go unnoticed. Until one day you peer into your face under a merciless white light, and the fault in the mirror slaps back, becoming what you think is the shape of your error. And if I'm beside that self, you destroy me. Or if you can see the mirror is lying, you shatter the glass, choosing another blindness and slashed, helpless hands. Because at the same time, down the street, a glassmaker is grinning, turning out new mirrors that lie, selling us new clowns at cut rate.
We were never meant to survive. When the sun rises, we're afraid that it will not remain. When the sun sets, we're afraid that it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we're afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we're afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we're afraid love will vanish. When we're alone, we're afraid love will never return. When we speak, we're afraid our words will not be heard, nor welcomed. But when we're silent, we're still afraid. So, it is better to speak, remembering.
It has rained for 5 days running. The world is a round puddle of sunless water where small islands are only beginning to cope. A young boy in my garden is bailing out water from his flower patch. When I ask him why, he tells me, young seeds that have not seen sun forget and drown easily.
Woman power is black power, is human power. It's always feeling my heart beats as my eyes open, as my hands move, as my mouth speaks. Are you ready?
Of all the ways in which this country prints its death upon me, selling me cigarettes is one of the most certain. Yet every day I watch my son digging. Con Edison, General Motors, garbage disposal out of his nose as he watches a 3-second spot on how to stop smoking. And it makes me sick to my stomach. For it is not by cigarettes that you intend to destroy my children. Not even by the cold, white light of moonwalks, while half the boys I knew are doomed to quicker trips by a different capsule. No. The American cancer destroys by seductive and reluctant admission, for instance. Black women no longer give birth through their ears, and therefore must have a monthly need for iron. For instance, our pearly teeth are not racially insured, and therefore must be gleaned for fewer cavities. For instance, even though all astronauts are white, perhaps black people can develop some of those human attributes, requiring dry dog food, frozen coffee, instant oatmeal, depilatories, deodorants, detergents, and other assorted plastics. And this is the surest sign I know that the American Cancer Society is dying. It has started to dump its symbols onto black people, convincing proof that those symbols are now useless and far more lethal than emphysema.
When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed. But when we are silent, we're still afraid, so it's better to speak.
When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid.
Woman power is. Black power is. Human power is. Always feeling. My heart beats as my eyes open, as my hands move, as my mouth speaks. I am. Are you? Ready?
There are so many roots to the tree of anger that sometimes the branches shatter before they bear. Sitting in Nidrix, the women rally before they march, discussing the problematic girls they hired to make them free. An almost white counterman passes, a waiting brother to serve them first, and the ladies neither notice nor reject the slighter pleasures of their slavery. But I, who am bound by my mirror as well as my bed, see causes in color as well as sex, and sit here wondering which me will survive all these liberations. Audre Lorde said, who said it was going to be simple?
Women who build nations learn to love men. Who build nations learn to love children, building sandcastles by the rising sea.
For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hope to silence us, for all of us this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not return. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak remembering we were never meant to survive.
Life is very short, and what we have to do must be done in the now.